Hi everyone, my name is Robert Ortiz, and welcome to the RTCC podcast, where we shine light on relevant college and career information parents and scholars need to know. I'm super excited about today's show. If you tuned in last week, you heard Megan Sotelo and Amanda Harmon speak with two Uplift alums on how they're navigating the impacts from COVID-19. You definitely want to make sure you check it out if you haven't already. Today, Dr. Jeffrey Fuller is my co-host as we speak with two Uplift seniors who are not only navigating the impacts COVID-19 is having on their senior year, but also figuring out what this means for their college plans this fall. Dr. Fuller, thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, Robert, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Dr. Fuller, can you share a little bit of your background and what you do at Uplift?
Sure. So I am currently the Dean of College Prep at Uplift Infinity High School, located in Irving. This is my second year in that role. Prior to that, I worked as a high school counselor in the Los Angeles area, mostly working in private schools and then a few public schools as well. This has been a really great experience. Having moved from Los Angeles to Dallas, just new experiences, new culture, very different lifestyle. My family and I have discovered, which has been great. Beginning my journey with Uplift was really unexpected, and how it's turned out has been fantastic. Really been able to grow as an educator. And with regards to COVID-19, I think my background as a counselor has been very beneficial, as well as my last 2 years with Uplift.
Awesome, Dr. Fuller. Thanks for that. Should we now welcome today's guests?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. I'm happy to be welcoming Sarah Vajan and Vedant Unyal to the show. They'll be sharing their experience of navigating their senior year and college plans for the fall. Sarah and Vedant, welcome. Can you start with sharing which Uplift school you attend and how long you've been an Uplift scholar?
Hi, my name is Sarah Rajan, and I'm from Uplift Infinity High School, and I've been there since I was in 6th grade.
Hi, my name is Vedant Unyal. I'm from Uplift Northwest Preparatory, and I've been there since kindergarten.
Vedant and Sarah, I know COVID-19 has completely flipped your senior year upside down, but can you share with us how your senior year was going before the outbreak started getting serious, and what were some highlights of your year?
Previous to COVID-19, my senior year was going pretty well, and it was really fun. Thinking back now, all the memories, it was really a great time because all the events and all the class times that we had together, it was really fun. I've had a lot of good memories in my senior year, but I think the biggest thing for me was that the day that I got my actual acceptance from UTD, when I opened it, is on there was a letter from the School of Brain and Behavioral Sciences, and that's when it kind of hit me that I'm finally going in the path that I like, and that I'm about to be a neuroscience student and going on the pre-med track. And being a doctor is one of my biggest goals in my life, and just understanding and knowing that I'm finally on that path and I'm getting to do what I like was just the biggest moment for me, and it made me so happy and proud, and it was just one of the biggest moments that I can remember.
For me, it was also fun. It was filled with a lot of good memories, but it was also kind of rough because I had knee surgery. The first few months were kind of a lot to handle, and just transitioning into the senior year was kind of tough for me. I think the best part the senior highlight of this year, it was on my birthday. My friends, they actually surprised me with it was this card, and there were 25 or 30 people who had written me really sweet messages, including some of my teachers, and they all bought me they came to my house and they hand delivered me the card, and they brought a cake with it. So I was super emotional that day, and that was probably the highlight of my senior year.
So how are you doing during this time? What would be your self-analysis on how you're navigating quarantine with your family?
Honestly, it's been hard because personally for me, I'm a very social person. I like to get out. I like to talk to people. And this has just been really hard. And I've been trying to stay positive in many ways. I like to think this is happening for a reason, but everything will be over soon, and trying to think of the positive things. But sometimes they're just like, it keeps just piling up on each other, and like more bad things keep happening. And for the past couple of weeks, it's just been hard for me to like keep thinking positive, and you just feel like, you know, that there's people going through worse, but it's just hard to actually know that everything will be okay. And so I have those like in between times. Like sometimes I'm doing okay and know that this will be over, hopefully, and everything will be fine. But then at other times, it's just hard to know that everything will be okay, and it's just, you go down sometimes.
Yeah, definitely along like the same lines for me. I'm not like some like super positive person who's like always happy or smiling all the time. Like it just varies like day to day, like my mindset. Some days like I'll have like a lot of like understanding and gratitude, and I'll be like in a good mood. Maybe like I'm reading a book or like exercising, but then there's other days where I'm definitely like sluggish or I don't feel like doing anything, because as Sarah was saying, I'm also, or she's really a social person, and I think I'm definitely like the same way. I really miss like actually interacting with my friends, because just doing it over the phone, it really isn't the same. But yeah, I don't think I'm doing too bad, because I've also, as Sarah was mentioning earlier, like you get time to like connect with your family, um, because everything has kind of come to a standstill. Um, People have more time for you, and you have more time for people, at least within your own home.
Really appreciate you sharing some of your more personal and intimate moments. And when do you recall knowing that this pandemic, or it wasn't a pandemic at the time, when do you recall knowing that the coronavirus was serious, and when it was getting serious? Was it when school was announced being closed? Was it before that? And how did those moments look for you, and how did they make you feel?
When I found out that school was closing, personally, it was a big hit for me because I honestly like coming to school because it just, I just like learning, and I like to be with my friends and teachers. It's just an environment that I'm used to for so long. And so when I found out that school was being canceled, it was just a terrible thing because I had looked forward to a lot of the senior events, and I had a plan for them. And like knowing that it might get canceled or delayed, that was a big sad thing. And then also another factor that I realized that when all this was getting serious was my mom, because she's a nurse. And when I realized that she had to be going to the hospital and that she might have to take care of COVID-19 patients, I think that really hit me. And it was like, at first it was like, oh, it's in other countries, but now it's finally here in Dallas, and my mom has a chance of coming in contact with it. Like that was just a really scary thing. And so far she hasn't been need to do that or like had to take care of COVID patient. But that's when it actually got serious for me, because it's like my family is in risk, and it was just a big thing.
For me, it was like a variety of factors. Like my mom, like her online friend groups, like with like a bunch of other parents. Like when they were kind of like understanding the news and talking about it, and then she was telling me about it, how like this might happen. And also, one of my close friends, he used to come over all the time. Um, and his uncle telling him that it's really bad in his country, which was his uncle lives in Spain, and his uncle telling him that he needs to take this seriously. And that combined with just the news and just seeing what was happening, uh, like a couple high schools that closed down before ours, so understanding that, oh, ours might be up next, or oh, this is really serious. So yeah, just like taking in my surroundings and just understanding what's going on.
You know, Sarah and Badong, I think you've given some really great insight into how you were feeling, and how, especially how you initially felt, and then the rationalization there after you've been able to process this. Um, is there a particular event that, if they do have to be canceled, that you'll be particularly disappointed that will not occur, whether it be prom or senior signing day or graduation itself?
For me, it would definitely be like graduation. Not only like for myself, but a lot of students, they're like first generation. They're the first people out of their family to go to college here. So just understanding that like their families won't be able to like see their son off like formally, right? They won't be able to like cheer them on when their name gets called on stage. Just because I know like those moments, they mean a lot to people. So I think not only for I know I'm not only speaking for myself, but on behalf of like a lot of people that I know, that graduation would definitely like it would definitely hurt to not have graduation this year.
Knowing that all our events are going to be either canceled or postponed, it makes you, or it personally made me upset and angry because it's like it's things that we looked forward to all our lives, especially in high school. And when that moment is finally here, it's just like it's taken away from you, and it makes you feel really angry and upset. It honestly sucks that everything is not going to happen the way that we want it to be. I think graduation is probably one of the most important events because even after talking to a lot of my classmates, everybody's big priority was graduation, even over prom or any other events. It's just that like point. It's just that event that makes everyone happy, and it's like that final moment when you know that you achieved everything and you're finally getting that diploma that you worked for so long. And so it's just that little like moment in your life that everybody wants to have, no matter what other things that you missed out on.
I love both of your insights, and I appreciate that you are hoping and wanting to have graduation. A little side story about myself. I actually fell asleep in the middle of my graduation because we had a lot of kids in the class, and it was a very long, very boring ceremony. So despite how exciting it seems, at sometimes it just is not as exciting in reality as what you were hoping for. But despite your anticipation in having and participating in these wonderful events, um, in the end, life must go on and we need to move forward. And for the two of you, moving forward means attending college in the fall. I'd love to hear what your college plans are, where you're intending to go, if you'll be a commuter student, if you'll be living on campus, if you'll be local, and if your plans have changed or have they remained the same despite the current pandemic.
For me, I'm attending SMU and I'm majoring in political science. I'm also hoping to commuting, but I might have to stay at a dorm because SMU they usually don't like accept they don't make exceptions for students usually that allow them to like commute. And then speaking on like plans, I didn't really have like plans set in stone um, at the beginning of like my road to college journey. So for the most part, no, they haven't changed. I've just kind of been figuring it out on like during this time. Yeah.
So I plan to go to UT Dallas, and I will be majoring in neuroscience with a pre-med track. I'm hoping to go to med school after. I will be commuting, and I haven't changed my plans. This is exactly what I wanted to do before COVID hit, and I'm hoping to go with it because it's been a long-lasting dream. So I'm still on the same plans.
Again, that's some really great insight. And I like how you and your families have a plan and how you are approaching it from a very logical point. If we could go backwards just a little bit to January, February, when you were making these decisions, can you explain and sort of put us in the place of you when you were making those decisions, when you were having those conversations with your families? How did that look? How did that feel? So that the listener can understand what the mind of a 17, 18-year-old is thinking when they're making those decisions with their families.
Making a college decision is like a big thing because it's like you're finally getting to choose that place that you're going to be for the next 4 years, and it's just a big part of life. So it's a very important thing, and it can be very frustrating at times. But then personally, for me, my parents had a big say in it because family is pretty important to me. And so everything that I do, I have to talk with him. And at first, I did not want to attend UT Dallas because I just did not like it anyways. But then after having multiple conversations with my parents and understanding why they would like me to stay here as I'm an early child, and also me realizing that UTD has a good neuroscience program and a pre-med program and that it's one of the best in Texas just helped me to realize that maybe UTD is the best choice for me. And if not, I might have the opportunity to transfer in the future. But it's just a hard time and it'll take time for some people to actually decide where they're going. But for me, it was at the moment in January. I knew what I was doing because in the previous months I already had those conversations with my parents, and at the end, I was pretty happy with what I was doing, and I feel confident.
Um, like back in January, February, I was definitely like all over the place. Like as they were saying, like yeah, for me it was like it's like one of the only times I can remember you have like a really large say about your future. And it's like it is a really difficult choice to make unless you've always had like a dream college or whatnot. But yeah, for SMU, like I remember I applied to it like super duper late. It wasn't like one of my top choices. But I faced like a lot of denials from colleges. And so I think during January, February, my family was really walking me through, and my counselors. So I had like a lot of voices um, that were helping me direct where I wanted to go for college.
Thank you both so much for your insight. So, what would you share to parents who have high school seniors at home who are also trying to help them figure out what to do in the fall? Because, and I know both of you are sticking to your college plans, but there may be some students or maybe parents who are maybe feeling uneasy about the college plans that they had, whether that was because they are planning to go out of state or to a university. And now there's just like a cloud of, well, I don't know. And so, would you have words to share to parents from a perspective of a high school senior that could be helpful for them as they navigate this time with their kids?
This is just a hard time for everyone, for students, for parents, and so it's understandable that a lot of parents might be going through things as well. And just a word of advice is that just be there for your seniors because it's hard on them to make a decision too, even if that's to go out. It's hard, and just be there and support them, but also just even if it's hard to believe that everything will be okay, just know that everything will be fine and there's a reason for everything. Um, but yeah, it's just hard and we can't really do anything but just wish for the best.
Yeah, for me, like what advice I would give to parents, I'd say just like try to put yourself in like their shoes and like the shoes of seniors. But I know that can like be really difficult for like a lot of parents, especially like immigrant ones like mine. Um, they haven't really gone through like that same American dream type of like college experience. Like they've experienced something else entirely. So it can be hard to like put themselves in your shoes, which is why I think sometimes there's a conflict in between parents and seniors during this time. But yeah, as Sarah was saying, the parents should just be there for like the seniors, just help guide them, just asking them questions, just being there for them goes like a long way into them understanding that you support them. And for the students, I'd say just like have faith like in the future that like this virus will clear out. Um, and then besides that, like you can't really do anything but like pray and hope for the best.
Thank you for providing that insight. And I am glad to hear that both of you are at least overall doing well. And I think it's very natural to have good days and bad days. My question to you then is, what about your friends and your fellow high school peers who are having more bad days than good, or in their heads are not having any good days, what would you say to them, and what would you want them to do during this very difficult time for them?
Honestly, it's totally understandable because this is something that nobody has ever seen. So it's like a lot of people don't know how to cope with it. And if one of my friends is having a hard time, like often, I totally understand that. And the only thing that from my side I feel like we can do is to help them feel better with words. Maybe that doesn't help all the time, but from my side, that's what I try to do: help them with words, call them, check in with them often, and let them know that I'm there for them and that there's so many people out there for them that cares about them, and just to make sure that they're doing okay. So, but the situation honestly sucks, and it's really hard to think positive. But I think from my side, the best thing that I can do for my other peers is to just let them know that I'm there for them to talk to, call, and just, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think just like reaching out to people and just being there for them, that's like essential to making them feel better. For people who are having like bad days, just making them understand like they aren't alone. They aren't like suffering by themselves. That you're there for them. There's people out there um, that are also having bad days, and that they don't have to feel like the whole world is against them. And just also like helping them look at their situation and like try to find something that they're thankful for, um, or something they have gratitude for, so that they can kind of step back, look at the environment, and just see that, oh, maybe I'm not as bad off as I thought I was.
So, Sarah and Vidong, it's pretty easy to get caught up with spending most of our time on technology. But how are you practicing self care and ensuring your wellness? Maybe even a little unplugged, especially in this odd time where we're all social distancing from each other.
Yeah. I like technology. It can kind of like override you with too much information, because there's like just so much information out there. So to like clear your head, I know like a lot of people like meditate or just like practice mindfulness, and like I've tried my hand at that, even though I'm like not really good at it. So I definitely think like meditation is like a thing a lot of people have been picking up recently, and also just like exercising, going for like a walk, going for a run. uh, Not only does it allow you to like go outside in nature, but it also like will clear your head. It's like a stress reliever, and for me personally, exercise is also a big thing that I can practice to just take care of myself.
For me, things that I have been doing to get myself away from technology or just all the information on there is trying to read more, even if it's just like textbooks here or like old books. Read more, and then trying to spend time with my parents more and talk to them. I think that's just been a big part of this time because before it was just I go to school, I come back, and they're probably at work, and it just doesn't give me time to talk to them. But during this time, I've just had plenty of time to interact with them, know them more, and help them understand me more in a way as well. And that's just been such a great thing, to be honest.
It's really great. I'm glad you both have found ways to get healthy and take care of yourselves, as well as to avoid technology so as to get away from the information overload, as you said. One of my questions as a follow up to that is your peer groups and your support groups have been established for a number of years at this point. Have you seen your support group change in any ways? Do the people you rely on and talk to, has that group and the people within that group, has that changed during this pandemic?
Personally, for me, I have just seen a big increase in the amount of support during this time because in all of my groups, people have just been reaching out more, supporting each other. And like, even if that's church, like our community, like our youth fellowship has come together more. Like we've been doing more Bible studies, more small groups, and keeping in check with each other. Like if I don't speak to someone in 2 days, like someone will reach out and be like, hey, are you doing okay? And even if that is just school, like there are like more kids are just like reaching out to each other that used to hate each other. And it's just a great thing to see that like people are finally like coming together more. And because before it was just like a busy time and like no one had time to talk to each other, but now like the support is there more than you ever need, and that's, to me, it's just a great thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing for me. I'm definitely like talking to a lot of people who I had taken for granted or I hadn't talked to like in a while. I'm like connecting with them more, whether through like calling or texting or social media. So I think, yeah, socially, my friend group has opened even more. But I also know like there have been like some of my friends who like I'm not talking to as much. So I think it's like a yes and no thing. So for me, it's like yes and no.
I appreciate how positive and uplifting you are both with your peers and especially with your friends. And I can only assume that some of you, or that the both of you, have friends whose families are being directly impacted by COVID-19 in some way. One of the things you did not mention in terms of sort of your support and the encouragement that you could receive is the role that your schools might play. Um, as seniors, and not to make light of a serious situation, you are both, I can assume, suffering from this thing called senioritis, this other malady that affects most seniors as they are in high school. How integral a role has school played, even from a distance, in getting you to a positive emotional state and keeping you interacting with your peers and wanting to still be excited about college?
Speaking on senioritis, yeah, like a lot of people are like not going to do their work just because they're having a bad day. Or so just being there, encouraging them to do it, or being there for them, helping them or guiding them.
Agreeing with Twirang, I think senioritis has just been a big thing for our school ever since the beginning. And especially now that we're not in school physically, there's just a lack of motivation with a lot of kids, and like they don't want to do anything because it's like, we're not getting our IB exams, and it's just like, what's the point of doing this? We're already like more than halfway through, so there's no point in me doing this. And just with all the other stuff that is going on, it's just really hard for like our class to just know that like, oh, doing this work is going to help in any way or anything. But the support, as for support system, I just think that, yeah, like Vedang said, like teachers checking in and having like other conversations else than like the subjects can really help. And also I know that the signs are like one of the biggest things, and it made so many of my classmates like really happy. Because before it was like, yeah, everyone knew that everybody was trying to like reschedule prom and do things for us. But then suddenly waking up to this surprise in the morning or like the afternoon and looking forward to like teachers coming and taking their time to go around to houses and putting these posters and signs in at people's houses, that was just a big thing. And like literally every student had posted that day on social media with this saying thank you, and that they were really like, they were like just struck by this act of kindness, because it's like, oh my God, like even though we're in the midst of this, our teachers still care for us, and they took their time to go around and put this in front of our houses. And it was just it was also like a act of like motivation for other kids. They were like, okay, our teachers care for us, and so we should be doing our work. And so I know that a lot of kids after that was like, okay, I need to get back on this and do my schoolwork. But it was just a really big thing, and it was a good surprise that a lot of us woke up to and saw us in like our yards.
That's perfect. Thank you. Going back to you and the last question of the day, When all is said and done, and for me, when all is said and done, the thing that I am looking forward to the most is going to Six Flags with my two daughters. That's something that they and I have been looking forward to for the months that we've been in quarantine. What is that one thing you are really looking forward to when all of this passes?
There's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to as this passes. But I think one of the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is going to church. Religion is very important to me, and this is probably the longest time that I have gone without going to church and seeing my community there, and it's just been really hard. And so I think the first and foremost thing that I'm looking forward to is those Sunday services.
For me, definitely, I haven't been able to like play a sport I love, which is basketball, with other people since last July. So now that I'm almost recovered, I just cannot wait to I don't even care if it's just like with one other person or like with some friends, with my brother. I just want to like go to a gym and just play basketball with like a group of people.
This brings us to a close for today's show. Thank you, Sarah and Badong, for offering your time to speak with us today.
A big thanks to you guys and Uplift for doing this, because it was nice to know that our district cares about us and that they're giving us the opportunity to share our stories and help someone else and spread it to others, and also let us express ourselves. So a big thank you to everyone.
Thank you for like having us. I think like it's pretty cool that like we get to like share like a part of like our senior stories or whatnot.
Thanks for joining us today, Badong. It was great to get to know you, and I wish you the best of luck in the fall at SFU. And Sarah, as always, you have been exceptional. I've really enjoyed getting to know you over the last 2 years, and I look forward to seeing you at future Uplift alumni events. And a little shameless plug about Sarah, she's one of the best balloon arch makers around, so if anyone listening needs a balloon arch, she's definitely a great go-to.
Well, Dr. Fuller, I want to also thank you for co-hosting today's show. It was a pleasure having you, especially knowing as you're working with scholars on the ground on a daily basis to help them navigate this time. And your work is greatly appreciated.
I really appreciate that, Robert. Thank you again for having me as a co-host. This has been a phenomenal experience, and I look forward to hopefully doing more in the future.
Hi everyone, thanks for listening to today's episode. You will find details mentioned today in our show description. If you have any questions or would like information on what we discussed, please email us at rtcc@uplifteducation.org. Also, we understand navigating life, wellness, and education may be a challenge right now. We at Uplift want you to know you're not alone. We are on this journey together. And to help you stay informed, please visit uplifteducation.org/COVID-19, where we post all the updates and information you need to know. As a reminder, please do not forget to tune in next week for our new episode. Until then, be well and shine through.